Commissioner. There is translation there, yes. And the Commissioner has the ones we had downstairs?
No, it's different one, it's different one.
It's different ones.
Oui, mais là, il y en a ici aussi la traduction. Podemos tirar?
Tem água aí.
Can I please ask you to take your seats, please? Good afternoon and welcome to this press conference that is happening in the context of the high-level conference on the European platform on combating homelessness. Taking part in this press conference are Minister for Labour, Solidarity and Social Security, Mendes, Godinho, the European Commissioner, Nicolas Schmit, and Goodwill Ambassador Yves Leterme. After the initial statements, we will have time for a few questions from the press here and online. Minister, the floor is yours.
Well, good afternoon to all of you. First of all, let me say I wish you were here with us in Portugal. I'm sure that that will happen someday soon. I have to thank for Commissioner for being here, for always being so supportive and to being such a partner, a good partner all along this presidency. Also, thanks to Yves Leterme for being here in such, I would say, an historical moment for Europe. You know, the motto of our Portuguese presidency has been time to deliver and to put the social dimension of Europe in the center of our minds. So today, as I would say, a very good way to end our Portuguese presidency in terms of employment and social affairs. We had the launch of the platform dedicated to combating homelessness in Europe and also the signing of the Declaration of Lisbon, Declaração de Lisboa, where by unanimity, signed by all the member states and European institutions, we had the compromise of all the stakeholders, including social partners and civil society, to implement actions to eliminate homeless people in Europe by 2030. So with concrete goals, concrete measures, assuming that this must be in the center also of our mindset and to the need to guarantee that we put in place measures and also resources to guarantee that this happens. It has been quite a fruitful day, I would say, discussing and sharing the experiences of several countries, and also guaranteeing that we are transforming and turning the Principle 19 of the European Pillar of Social Rights into a reality. So after the Porto Social Summit, we are making the pillar and the action plan, making them a reality and trying to make them a reality in day-to-day life of European citizens.
Commissioner, please.
Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you very much, Yves. Well, I think we had a very fruitful day indeed. It was, for me, in such a short time, the impression that social Europe is moving in the right direction, moving in the direction of European citizens, what they expect from us. 9 out of 10 say social Europe is important for me personally. And I think, as you said, we have started to deliver already. Even before Porto, we started. And you have done a fantastic job on so difficult issues like a framework for minimum wages. And now it's the poorest among us, those who are the most excluded, those who have no prospect. And we tell them, we take care, and we will help you. And together, European-wide, we will combat, but also eradicate homelessness. It is absurd that in the richest continent in the world, hundreds of thousands of people have no place to live, no place to go, among them children. And when we say we at least want to reduce the number of poor people by 15 million, I insist on at least, and especially minus 5 million poor children, this is a very strong commitment. And this means that we have to start now, today. And this declaration under Portuguese presidency, which has now the signature of all the member states, but also of civil society, of European institutions, this is a strong commitment. And we have no right now not to follow what we are committed to. And these are not just vague promises. These are very clear commitments. And this platform, it's a bit a strange word, platform, because we are talking a lot about platforms now and the platform economy. But this platform is about concrete actions. It's about, I want just to say, no one sleeps rough for lack of accessible, safe, and appropriate emergency accommodation. Most of us do not know exactly what that means. But those who are in this situation, they exactly know what this means. And that's something we want to eradicate. So thank you for the Portuguese, for your efforts. And certainly, I would say Europe, after this presidency, will be a bit better. And now, we will, as you say, deliver.
Ambassador Yves Leterme, please.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and Madam Minister, Mr. Commissioner. Let me first of all underline the added value of the Portuguese rotating presidency of the European Union. I had the honor on behalf of Belgium to hold the rotating presidency in 2010, and it's always good to see years afterwards that more or less you leave a trace. Our presidency was the first post-Lisbon rotating presidency, but we are very proud after years to look back, and I'm sure that you will be in that position with the colleagues in your government to look back to this year, to the first semester of 2021, holding the EU presidency in a couple of years. You say, well, that's one of the things we did very well. And of course, there was already the social summit in Porto, but I'm sure that in the daily lives of hundreds of thousands of people, potentially we in the next years will make a difference via the activities of this platform. Ladies and gentlemen, European Union, one of the characteristics of our living together on the European continent is that we manage to be united in diversity, cultural, linguistic diversity, but also that we have as a kind of watermark of the way we organize our societies, a watermark which is the social welfare state. And the ambition of the social welfare state is that on the one hand you give impulses and possibilities to all people that have the talents and the possibilities to be productive, to be innovative, to bring added value through their work, through their activities, but also that you look back and that you leave no one behind. And this is the social welfare state in essence, but we have to make sure the social welfare state is functioning, is inclusive. And there, of course, I think that it's difficult to imagine a more harsh, a more negatively impacting exclusion than to be in the streets on a daily basis, not for once, but on a daily basis and under pressure because of that situation. We heard this morning some really moving testimonials of people that told us what it is in reality to be on the streets and have no roof, have no home. The platform, as the Commissioner has mentioned it, has as an ambition to facilitate, to improve, to render more impactful the work of the member states of the European Union, the regions, and also the metropolitan areas and local authorities. Because, of course, based amongst others on the principle of subsidiarity, it's their competence, it's their responsibility to put in place the policies and the tools to combat homelessness. But on the other hand, we think that the European Union has both a responsibility and has a role to play. Responsibility because, for instance, based on the free movement, the principle, one of the basic principles of the European Union, we see people indeed within the European area, the area of the European Union, freely go from city to city, sometimes to change lives, sometimes based on personal ambitions, but also sometimes because of poverty, because of not seeing any outcome anymore at the horizon of their personal life. And so European Union makes it possible to have that free movement, which of course also puts on our collective shoulders as European Union a responsibility. Responsibility to take care of the people, to take care of all the people. So we have responsibility, we also have a role to play. And that role, the idea is based on this decision and the Declaration of Lisbon, so to say, on the platform. The ambition is through this platform to improve the policies through, let's say, 5 tools or in 5 domains which are quite precisely described, and that's very positive, precisely described in the declaration. Number 1, by sharing knowledge and experience. Number 2, by harnessing financial means to help to support the efforts at the local and the regional level. Number 3, by sharing best practices, good practices, and of course, best practices. Number 4, by sharing data and agree on clear definitions so that we can compare successes and failures, not as a blame game, but in order to improve the impactfulness of policies. Last but not least, we agreed also in the declaration to monitor progress, with as an ultimate goal to eradicate, and of course politicians should be sober, should be realistic, but I think it's a good endeavor to have, it's a good ambition to have in the framework of the SDGs also, to put the European Union in an endeavor, in a position with an endeavor to eradicate the roof and homelessness of, at today, 100,000 of people. So I'm very happy to be able to support this effort, and I'm looking forward to busy weeks and months, but I think months where we can make a difference for ordinary citizens, and I think that in all our political activities, this is the most, the moments where we feel a most added value. This morning, Madam Minister Godinho was praised by the people that came to testify about how her work for their daily lives make a difference. I think these are good moments, I think, Madam Minister. Well, let's hope that in some years, Commissioner also will be in a position to say, well, by supporting that decision, I indeed could make a difference for ordinary citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we have some time for questions and answers, and I invite all journalists following this session online to raise their hands on the Zoom platform if they wish to pose a question. And we'll go straight to Lusa. Susana Venceslau, please. Susana? We can't hear you.
Estão a ouvir?
Yes. Sim, sim, sim.
Boa tarde, Susana Venceslau da agência Yves. Eu queria perguntar muito concretamente, e de forma muito concreta, como é que esta plataforma vai efetivamente funcionar entre os 27 países e de que forma é que ela vai ser então essa ferramenta para um possível combate à situação de sem-abrigo até 2030?
I have not got the question.
Oh, they want to know how will the platform work and how it will work to guarantee. Well, maybe I'll answer in English so that everyone understands, if it's okay for you. So the idea, the concept and the idea of the platform is to be a basis of shared knowledge between all the member states, and it will have a steering committee where Ambassador Yves Leterme will be the leader, taking care, guaranteeing that it is a space not only of sharing knowledge and data, but also of identifying the needs of resources, namely financial resources, even to share the mechanisms to support concrete national policies. So it will work both as data collector, but also as of a space of sharing knowledge, sharing experiences, and also of sharing financial instruments to put in place to guarantee that at national level it is possible to implement the different solutions. I can give you the example of what happened today. During our conference, we had 27 member states sharing concrete measures that they are implementing, different types of measures, namely housing first, namely dedicated teams to create personalized and detailed solutions for inclusion in the employment and in the labor market for people. So the platform will have all these shared information, and also again, information and instruments to mobilize in terms of financial resources to support national measures and national policies. Also with this, always with this goal subscribed and assumed by all, with concrete goals till 2030. So all the member states subscribe the compromise to achieve those goals, and the platform is the instrument to make it possible.
Perhaps
Yes.
If I may just add one element, we have now an instrument, we have a new dynamic, and I think this is created through the declaration, this is created also by this platform. We have already financial means at European level. We will have perhaps more financial means, which have to be added to national means, and we will have a monitoring. And certainly homelessness will be part also of the European semester, so we will discuss with member states, and exactly as you said, not to punish, not to correct, but just to collaborate, to work with member states, how best they can reduce the number of homeless people. And there are a lot of issues, a lot of dimensions, and certainly bringing people back into society means also at the end bringing them into autonomy, because people, we have heard that this morning, how to regain my autonomy. And one of the issues is minimum income first, and then certainly also a job, and helping people also eventually to be skilled. And we have seen here through a very interesting Portuguese project how people are skilled for hospitality, for food preparation and for service, and these are obviously the right ways to reduce homelessness and to give people back their dignity. Thank you.
Ambassador, if you would like to add something.
Yeah, very, very briefly, not to say something different than the Minister and the Commissioner, but just to add that as far as homelessness is concerned and this platform, the biggest added value will be out of these synergies of just bringing together all kinds of efforts that are already in a very dispersed way sometimes done by different countries, by different member states, civil society, all kinds of organizations involved in the matter. And so the ambition is to really, on a very cost-effective basis, I'm doing this as a volunteer, but to, on a real cost-effective basis, bring together experiences, try to have mutually reinforcing efforts by member states, and of course also in terms of finances, Mr. Commissioner, I think this is important to underline, also seizing the moment where Europe, to relaunch the economy, is investing a lot, not least in infrastructural investment, but also in housing, for instance, potentially also in the framework of having a greener society, greener energy consumption, and so on. There is a lot of investment done, so we think that a fair share of that investment should also be used to improve the situation of homeless people.
Thank you. And as far as we can tell, there are no more raised hands on our Zoom platform. So this being the case, it concludes our press conference. Thank you so much.
Obrigado.
Thank you.
Thank you.